Hi everyone, so this is the final video in my check-in series. I decided to group all these plants under Miscellaneous just so I don't have to create so many separate videos. So here they are. I'll start with this one. This is Stelis micrantha clouds mini-me. I excluded it from the group shot because I just found one thrip on it. So I just sprayed it down and I'm going to keep it isolated from the other plants. I did pot it up in a slightly bigger pot. It's quite difficult to get the rock wool around the sides there, but I think that's okay. No signs of spikes on it recently. Last year I believe I had one spike, but it aborted, so I wasn't able to see any of the blooms. This one is growing well, but I just need it to spike now. This one is my Phragmipedium Eva, and I got this at last year's Christmas auction. It's been doing very poorly for me, unfortunately. You can see, or if you've seen previous videos where I feature this plant, it was a lot bigger, but I had some rot and I had a thrips problem as well, so I had to keep it isolated. The good news is I haven't seen thrips on it since, and it appears to be making a recovery, so that's good. So I'm not afraid of this one dying. I'm not sure if I will get it to bloom this year though. I still do have this separate from the other plant. That's because I don't have much shelf space in my main growing area, so I just leave it in the kitchen. This one is Thecostele alata, and it's been doing pretty bad for me. Previously I had two divisions, but the other division died off. This one pushed out a new growth, has some mites on it, so I gotta spray it down. And these two pseudobulbs don't look good. I don't think it's rot, I think it's just being consumed, and I'm kind of afraid of disturbing that growth. So I'm just gonna leave it and let it take its course. I'm hoping I can get this to recover though. And this one is Galeottia fimbriata, and you can probably tell it's done pretty poorly for me this year, or rather this season. Basically what happened was a bunch of the bulbs started turning brown, so just to be safe I decided to unpot the plant and remove all the brown bulbs, cleaned up all the roots, and repotted it back in its pot. I don't expect any blooms from that new growth, but the good news is it's starting to push out a new growth, so that is a good sign. I'm not sure exactly why all those bulbs turned brown. I didn't do anything different. I think the only thing I could really think of is maybe there were too many roots in the pot and there's an issue with the oxygen in the roots, but I really don't know. And this one is Psychopsiella limminghei. I'm not sure what to do with this plant. I'm a little bit neglectful of it. Probably don't water it as much as I should, but on the other hand, it seems to be doing acceptably well. I'm not quite sure. Of course, there's no blooms. I mean, I guess I can say I don't care that much about this plant. When I first won it at our raffle table, I was very excited, but I'm just feeling kind of meh about this plant, so I'm not really sure if I want to keep it. I don't know if it's diseased. It grows well, or it had grown well for me, so I would probably rule out disease, but my attitude towards this plant is I don't really care all that much. And this one is my emersonii, and it's doing well for me. Previously I had an issue with the greens being too pale because of the too bright light, in my opinion, but the leaves have darkened up quite a bit, so it looks a lot better. No signs of spikes or anything like that, but it's been growing well for me so far. This is my Paphiopedilum Lynleigh Koopowitz, and it's also growing fairly well for me. It's a slow grower. I don't think it's going to spike anytime soon, but it looks healthy. I feel like I will be an old woman before I see this bloom, but I'm happy to have it for now. And this one is my Madevallia amplexa. It has done fairly well for me in my collection. It started having a habit of growing smaller leaves for some reason, but I think it's starting to turn around. Like, I think starting to push out longer leaves. Although this one's not as wide as the previous ones. I'm not sure why exactly that's the case, but the plant doesn't seem to be dying, so that's a good sign. Blooms very well for me, and I'm very happy to have this in my collection. This is my Aerangis punctata. You can tell by the 2 new leaves there that I haven't been taking very good care of this plant, but it's surviving and I'm glad it is. I really do like the flowers on this plant, and it's a good size as well for a small space. Just today I noticed that there's something growing on the side there. Now, it is a time of year where it would spike. Actually, I think it spiked earlier, but I don't recall if that is the shape of the spike or it's starting to push out a keiki, I guess. We'll see. This is my Podangis dactyloceras, and it's in bloom again, so I'm very happy. This plant really is a trooper. I have been neglecting my plants a lot this year, and you can tell by how they look. But even this one, even though I'm kind of not taking the best care of it, it still blooms and it still looks healthy. So yeah, I still enjoy having this guy in my collection. And last but not least, this is my Angraecum germinyanum, and it looks pretty dire. So basically what happened was it had thrips, but thrips was not the thing that caused this problem. I sprayed it down with my soapy solution, so soap, oil, water, alcohol, but it did not like that at all. So it dropped a bunch of its leaves, and you can see it's turning brown everywhere. I'm not quite sure if this is going to survive, and I'm not sure if I really want to save it. I'm thinking it might just be worth my time to get another one if I really miss this, or I can let this die and then bring something new in my collection. I do like the flowers, but I favor my Aerangis punctata more, and this one I feel like I can get it more easily, so I might just let this one die and then add something new to my collection. I sound pretty heartless, but it's you gotta make decisions sometimes. Alrighty, so those are my miscellaneous orchids. I hope you enjoyed the check-in series. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!